You paid off $11,000 in debt this year. Your credit score climbed. Your statements look cleaner. But you may have pushed your first $100,000 further away. Not because paying off debt is bad, because attacking low-interest debt with every extra dollar can leave nothing growing on the other side of your balance sheet. In some cases, the same $11,000 used in a different order can get you to a $100,000 net worth nearly a year sooner. I am going to prove it with real numbers. One person, two paths, same money, different order. And by the end, you will know which debt to attack, which debt to stop overpaying, and where your next dollar should actually go. Quick definition before we start. Your first $100,000 is net worth, not income. Cash, investments, and equity you actually own minus the debt you still owe. That is the number that matters. That is the crossover point. If your net worth right now is negative or sitting close to zero, this is the exact moment that number starts moving in the other direction. Paying down principal does raise that number. That money is not wasted. The real question is whether the interest you save is worth delaying the assets that could have been growing at the same time. Here is how you find out in your exact numbers which side of that question you are on. 4 tests, 1 framework, and a real example most people get backwards. We already handled the obvious answers. You have the starter emergency buffer we discussed. You are capturing any employer match available to you. An extreme credit card interest gets treated as an emergency, full stop. A 6% car loan is not that emergency. A 4% student loan is not that emergency. A mortgage is not that emergency. A 4% loan does not feel dangerous. It feels normal. That is exactly why it gets ignored in every debt versus investing conversation, and exactly why it deserves a closer look here. Those balances are expensive enough that paying them early feels responsible, but manageable enough that delaying investing creates a second cost. And that cost does not show up on your loan statement, it shows up on your calendar. Every debt creates 2 costs. The first is the interest cost, what the lender charges you for keeping the balance. The second is the ownership delay, the time you lose when money that could be buying assets goes toward eliminating a manageable balance early. One cost appears on your statement. The other appears as missing contributions and missing growth. Maybe that missing time shows up as a delayed down payment. Maybe it shows up as staying in a job you have outgrown because you cannot afford the pay cut. Either way, it is a real cost, even though no lender ever sends you a bill for it. You feel that cost most on the day you check your balance before payday, and it looks exactly like it did last month, even though you have been doing everything right for months. Your job is not to assume one always matters more. Your job is to compare them. Here's what that looks like. Before the numbers, be honest with yourself for a second. When you look at your own debt right now, which cost bothers you more, the interest on the statement or the years you feel like you are not moving forward? Hold that answer. The math is about to test it. Jordan is 27. He has $8,000 invested and $700 available each month after normal expenses. Jordan also carries a $60,000 student loan at 3% with a required payment of $300 a month. 2 choices. Choice 1, become debt-free first. Jordan sends $300 required plus $700 extra toward the loan, $1,000 a month. The loan disappears in about 66 months. Then he redirects the full $1,000 into investments. Assuming the existing $8,000 averages 7% annual growth and ignoring taxes and fees for simplicity, he crosses $100,000 in net worth around month 134. A little over 11 years. 11 years. That feels responsible. It feels like doing everything right, debt gone, then invest. But responsible and optimal are not always the same word, and the gap between them is exactly what the next number is about to show you. Now flip the order. Choice 2, build ownership while making the scheduled payment. Jordan keeps paying $300 toward the loan and invests the extra $700 every month. The loan sticks around longer. He keeps paying interest on it. But the investment account starts growing immediately. Watch what one change to the order does to the finish line. Under the same 7% illustration, Jordan crosses $100,000 around month 122. At that point, the investments are worth about $140,000 and roughly $38,000 remains on the loan. Assets minus debt puts Jordan just above the $100,000 mark. That is 12 months earlier. Same income, same $1,000 committed every month. Different order, different crossover date. And 12 months earlier means Jordan is 12 months further from being one emergency away from starting over at zero. This does not mean investing always wins. Change the loan to 20% and the answer flips immediately. But it proves the title. Paying off manageable debt too aggressively can delay your first $100,000. So how do you know when that is happening to you? The 4 tests I'm about to show you will help you separate debt that needs to be eliminated immediately from debt you may be attacking too aggressively. Start with the interest rate. Compare the guaranteed cost of the debt against a conservative long-term investment expectation, not the market's best year, not a guaranteed 10%, an assumption that accounts for uncertainty, taxes, fees, and whether you can actually stay invested when the market drops. If the debt rate is dramatically higher, paying the debt usually wins. That is why extreme credit card debt sits at the front of the line. But when the difference is narrow, the percentage alone cannot make the decision for you. A guaranteed 5% savings and an uncertain investment return can land in the same place. That is when time takes over, and time is where most people get this decision wrong. Ask how long aggressive repayment would actually delay serious investing. 3 months is nothing like 5 years. Take a $20,000 loan at 5%. Paying it off in 3 months barely touches your investing timeline, so paying it first costs you almost nothing. But paying off that same loan over 5 years means 5 years of contributions that never happened. That gap has decades left to compound, which is why it can be worth more than the interest you saved. At 7%, investing just $100 a month from age 25 to 30, then leaving it invested, could grow to roughly $94,000 by age 67. Eliminate a balance fast and release meaningful cash flow, and paying it first can accelerate everything that follows. But spend 4 or 5 years eliminating moderate rate debt, and that is 4 or 5 years of contributions that never enter your accounts. Those are not just missing dollars, they are missing time, and you do not get those exact years back. The lower the rate and the longer the payoff drags, the stronger the case for building ownership alongside the debt. But time is not the only variable working against you. The payment itself changes the answer too. Here's the test people skip the most, and it is often the one that actually flips the decision. Take a car loan at 6.5%, $700 a month, 12 months left. Pay it off early, and you free up $700 fast. Redirect every dollar of that into investments, and paying off the debt becomes an ownership accelerator. Now compare that to 4 years spent eliminating a moderate rate student loan that only frees up $150 a month. The interest rate matters, but the payment controls your actual life, whether you can invest, change jobs, cover childcare, or absorb an emergency. That can make early payoff worth it, even at a rate that is not extreme. You know the payment I mean. It is the one you quietly defend when someone asks why you are turning down plans again this month. But only if the freed up payment gets a new job. Free up $700 and let $600 of new spending fill the gap, and you did not accelerate anything. You just made room for a bigger lifestyle. Now ask yourself one uncomfortable question. Would you actually invest the difference? A spreadsheet might show that keeping a 4% loan and investing the extra money produces the stronger expected outcome. But that only works if the money is truly invested, not left in checking, not absorbed into a more expensive apartment, not spent because the balance looked available. The transfer should happen automatically after payday, the investment choice should already be decided, and the contribution has to continue when the market gets frightening. A mathematically stronger strategy you never follow is still the weaker strategy. If you know the extra money will disappear into spending, paying down the debt may create the better real-world result. Your behavior is part of the calculation. You do not need to memorize 4 tests forever. Run them once, honestly, on your own numbers, and the right order stops being a guess. Pay the debt first when the rate is destructive, the payment is controlling too much of your income, the balance can disappear fast and free up real cash flow, or you know you will not consistently invest the difference. Build ownership while making scheduled payments when the rate is manageable, the payment fits your budget, paying it off early would delay investing for years, and you have the discipline to automate your contributions. Notice none of these 3 is the right answer by default. That is exactly the point. Split the money when the math advantage is small, the debt is uncomfortable but not an emergency, and you want visible progress on both sides. $800 available does not mean $400 and $400. A car loan might get 70% while investments get 30%. A low-rate student loan might get 30% while ownership gets 70%. The split just has to keep both clocks moving. And whenever a payment disappears, redirect it before your lifestyle absorbs it. That is the move that turns debt payoff into wealth. After this video, pick the one debt you are unsure about. Write down 4 numbers. Its interest rate, its required monthly payment, how many months aggressive repayment would take, and how much you could build in assets if you made the scheduled payment instead. Then ask, is this debt clearly overpowering me? Would paying it off fast release real cash flow? How much ownership time would I sacrifice? And would I genuinely invest the difference? Those 4 answers tell you more than one universal percentage ever could. If you are staring at a credit card, a car note, and a student loan all at once, do not run this on all 3 today. Pick the one keeping you up the most and start there. Run the same 4 numbers on it that Jordan ran here: the rate, the payoff time, the payment, and your honest answer about whether you would actually invest the difference. Paying off debt is progress. Building ownership is progress. But doing either one in the wrong order can push your first $100,000 further into the future. Your goal is not to carry debt forever, but it is not to reach 0 debt while owning nothing either. Your goal is to eliminate each balance at the point where doing so strengthens your entire financial life. Your next dollar does not need a perfect answer. It needs a deliberate assignment. Make that assignment today, and the next decision becomes easier. That is how a crossover point gets built, not through one massive breakthrough, but one deliberate dollar at a time. And if you are serious about building wealth from the ground up, do not stop with this video. Go back to the first MaxStats Finance video and follow the channel in order. Each video tackles another decision that can either move your money forward or quietly keep you stuck. Subscribe to MaxStats Finance and keep building with me. Well, that is all for me now. I will see you in the next one.